You already know who it is. It's Osiris Lourde, Lord Under the Scope, episode number 9. Number 9, number 5. Number 9 starts with N, so what we gonna do? Narcissism. I didn't plan that. Yes, I did, but I didn't plan the N thing. That was a bad joke, but we gonna get right into it. So, narcissism. Narcissism is something that a lot of us may experience throughout our life and not even know that we have it. We may potentially think it's normal, especially when we meet other people that potentially do the same thing. So if you're not familiar with narcissism, narcissism is extreme self-involvement to the degree that it makes a person ignore the needs of those around them. While everyone may show occasional narcissistic behavior, true narcissists frequently disregard others or their feelings. They also do not understand the effect that their behavior has on other people. It's important to note that narcissism is a trait, but it can also be a part of a larger personality disorder. Not every narcissist has narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, as narcissism is a spectrum. People who are at the highest end of the spectrum are those that are classified as NPD, but others, basically they're saying people who are narcissists, not every person that's narcissistic has NPD. So to just kind of break that down, have you ever, or no, let's just use a different person. I mean, we haven't even used a person yet. But anyway, so that would be a person like, let's say you're talking to somebody and you're telling them, hey, my day is going pretty bad. This, that, and the third happened. I didn't even eat yet. Man, I just want to go home and relax. Blah, blah, blah. And the person just, you kind of just like lean into wanting to have a conversation about your day, pretty much. Let's just say that. And the person just starts talking about themselves. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't necessarily mean that they're a narcissist. They could be pretty much clueless. But typically, people who do this behavior that I just mentioned are typically narcissistic. So you can have said all those things, just kind of leaning into wanting to talk about your day. You know, you just need a friend and they're just kind of like, oh, well, my day was pretty good. You know, like they're just raining. I mean, it's not necessarily that you had a parade because you said your day was bad. But if you understand what I'm saying, it's just kind of like they're just throwing salt. They're just like, okay, well, your day sucked, but my day was awesome. I'm the greatest. You know, today I learned this skill today. And you're just kind of overwhelmed and exhausted by that. And you're like, you know what? I'm just going to go home. So that is a basic example of narcissism. So with that being said, there are definitely signs of narcissism, and I'll read off. These are all from WebMD, by the way. That definition I gave you was also from WebMD. And like I said, I'm not a doctor, so please don't self-diagnose yourself based off of, or someone else based off what I'm telling you. Please see a doctor or a therapist, but these are typical signs of narcissism. Sense of entitlement. So like I said, it's just kind of like, this belongs to me, this, that, and the third, but I'll read what they have on WebMD. A common sign of people with narcissism is the belief that they are superior to others and deserve special treatment. They believe that others should be obedient to their wishes and that the rules don't apply to them. So a lot of people in life who are more dominant, in a sense, quote unquote, are typically narcissists. They have manipulative behavior. That's a big one for sure. A narcissist will first try to please you and impress you, but eventually their own needs will always come first. When relating to other people, narcissists will try to keep people at a certain distance in order to maintain control. They may even exploit others to gain something for themselves. So basically, that's like someone who's a narcissist may potentially, we'll just use a random example. Bob wants to get a promotion, right? Bob is friends with Lisa, but Bob is like, you know what? I don't even care right now. I'm going to snitch on Lisa to get to the top. Like, I mean, yeah, that is like, no, because he just snitched on. I'm not saying, you know, she did something. She just like, he just straight up snitched on her and was like, nah, I'm going to the top. You know what I'm saying? That's manipulative. Okay, let's just say it this way. He snitched on Lisa to his boss in order to manipulate his boss into thinking that he's a goody two shoes so that he can get a promotion. You know? There we go. Lack of empathy. Lack of empathy is another sign of narcissism. This means that the narcissist is unwilling or unable to empathize with needs, wants, or feelings of other people. This also makes it difficult for them to take responsibility for their own behavior. So like I said, you could have went to your friend and was like, hey, my day was terrible. And then your friend is just literally like, I ate ice cream today. I went on a date. I bought new video games. Like I did all these great things. Instead of even taking like a minute or two to acknowledge your feelings or just kind of like talk about what you wanted to talk about. Because you could have, you just wanted somebody to hear you out. You could have been done with your conversation in 2 minutes and would have listened to Tom, Dick, and Harry listen to their narcissistic day for the rest of the day. But since they didn't want to listen to you, you're just kind of put off by them as just a human being. So anyway, like I said, lack of empathy, need for admiration is definitely one. One of the most common signs of a narcissist is constant need for praise or admiration. People with this behavior need to feel validation from others and often brag or exaggerate their accomplishments for recognition. They also like to feel appreciated to boost their ego. So, like I said, well, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Somebody that's like, oh, you're not gonna, did you notice my hair? Like, yeah, I noticed your hair and I was going to say something, but now that you're talking about your hair, I kind of don't even want to say anything. Or like, yeah, my outfit costs $5,000. It's like, bro, I don't care. My outfit actually costs $15,000 and I didn't even say anything about it. Like things like that. So just small things like that. Arrogance. People with narcissistic behavior already see themselves as superior to others. So they may become rude or abusive when they don't receive the treatment they think they deserve. While they hold themselves superior, they may speak or act rudely toward those that they deem inferior. So basically, some people, if you aren't treating them how they want to be treated, they might start ignoring you. They might think that you're a bad friend. Like in the other episode where I was like, oh, you don't give somebody money, they stop being your friend. All these things go together. I'm doing all of these section by section so you can understand them individually, and then as the time passes I'll start going into more complex disorders and things of the nature. And again, like I said, I'm just a dude reading off the internet. I'm not a doctor. Don't self-diagnose based off what I'm saying. Please go to the doctor and go to therapy and everything you need to do, and if you need to seek treatment, please go do that. So basically, in order to deal with narcissism, and this is from actually, I'll put the phone down. I went through a very, very, see, I'm scratching my head. Well, if you're listening to this, you can't see me scratching my head. And if you're watching this, if you're just listening, you should definitely check out the video, by the way. And all of you that are here checking out the video, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. The Lord loves you. So anyway, this is a personal experience. I went through a couple years in my life where I realized life was cool, but then I realized I was losing a lot of friends. I feel like I may have actually touched on this. I'm not gonna go down a huge, like rabbit hole thing of my life a couple years ago right now, but basically I realized I was a jerk. A lot of people started telling me, dude, you kind of suck as a human, because I started realizing I was losing a lot of friends. My life wasn't going how I wanted to. I was getting depressed. This is when I was going through a lot of my emotional phases. When I realized, holy snap, I am actually really sad right now, or I'm really upset. It had to do with the person I was dating for sure, but regardless, these were pent up emotions. So anyway, my girlfriend at the time made me realize that I pretty much sucked as a human being. And then I kind of basically asked her why, like honestly, and she told me why, and it really hurt my feelings. But there were things I needed to hear in order to work on it. So ultimately, I started typing in those things on the internet. Shout out to Google. And they ultimately led up to telling me that I was narcissistic. And I was a narcissist. Well, I was a narcissist in general. So basically, after reading that, I basically found out that I just needed to work on my people skills. So I just started working on my people skills. I started to listen to people when they spoke, I started to not make things about myself, especially when I felt like, because I feel like most people, you know, we know, or at least people who are narcissistic, or even just human being, you know, and you know when there's times to about yourself. Interject. Well, a lot of people don't know. I should make a whole video about when it's the proper time to interject, because people. Anyway, so basically, you feel to just talk about yourself while somebody else is having a whole conversation and talking about whatever they want to talk about that they potentially initiated. Stop thinking about what you want to talk about. Just listen. That is a good first step, in my opinion. When you feel like I want to talk, especially if it's not really your turn to talk, or, you know, somebody's venting or talking about their day, just pause. Let them finish. Think about what you want to say, which you should probably, depending on, unless they ask you a question or something that has to do with you needing to talk about yourself or something else besides what they just spoke about. Lost my train of thought. Anyway, unless they say something that regards to you and where you need to respond with something, saying something about yourself or something other than what they just spoke about, then you should just reply to what they said. And that's pretty much it. I mean, from then, like, oh snap, like this person really appreciates the fact that I just listened to them or even responded, even if you're not listening. It literally takes like so much like brain power, I guess would be called. Just adjust to pausing before speaking after someone speaks, you know, and just thinking about what they just said versus someone saying I crossed the street, you just say I crossed the street, then I went to the store, and then I went to do this. And I don't know why crossing the street is my favorite example, but basically that's how I feel, you know. Instead of being like I crossed the street too, you should just be like, okay, what happened after you crossed the street? They'll say I went to the store, and then literally they might be done. They'll be like, how about you? Then you can say I went to the street. I crossed the street. I went to the store. I looked at the light. I bought a shirt. All of these things. And they'll be like, oh, okay. You know, they're fulfilled literally just because you listen to their 2 sentences. And they're also fulfilled because they like listening to all the things you need to say. Now, you don't need to be narcissistic in order to talk to yourself, have a conversation that involves, you know, just, I mean, I guess talking about yourself, you know, you just have to have listening skills, active listening skills. But anyway, like I said, narcissism is basically someone, you find them always talking about themselves. The whole conversation always goes back to them. They start throwing a pity party about themselves. Like, they start tossing their emotions around. There's so many, like, I can definitely make in-depth video about narcissism and like put bullet points and everything just because I was super narcissistic in my life. But I like to have these videos moderately short, especially when the subject is easily explainable. So if you have a narcissistic friend, or you feel like you're a narcissist, or you are narcissistic or have traits of narcissism, please talk to somebody. Maybe ask a friend, hey, what do you think about me? And, you know, let them tell you. But obviously a friend that you trust, because some friends will just start blurting off things that have nothing to do with like you as a real person. They'll just start saying like your jeans are too tight, like, you know, like things like that have literally nothing to do with you. So yeah, ask that, and then if anything, you can definitely seek medical treatment with a therapist or a doctor. This is Lourde Under the Scope, Osiris Lourde. The Lord loves you. Again, topic of the day was narcissism and signs of narcissism. Peace.
Sometimes you want to work, and sometimes you don't want to work. What are we doing today? We working? We working, or we not working? Oh, look like we're working.
You already know who it is, you know what I'm saying? I'm in the motherfucking spot, and you already know what the fuck I do, you know what I'm saying? I'm already in the motherfucking place, so you know I'm in the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, so it do work, I bet.